What's good, people? It's your boy, Icarus Gray. And this happens to be the Gray Area Anime. Gray Area Anime, the most wonderful podcast of your day. I tried a new thing and it didn't work out, so I'm gonna bail quickly. And I am back with another one. Kirby says, hi. It is dangerous to go alone. So, I choose you guys. We are back once again. Myself and the one, the only, the immovable DJ Justinsane.
Thank you. It is great to be back. Icarus, I got something for you after our last conversation about the dubs and how much you don't like them. I got you a copy of one of the best American animations ever. Let me know if you've heard it. It's called The Last Airbender. But what they did was that they redubbed a Japanese voice and then they subbed it. So it's in the mail. It's on its way to you.
Oh gosh!
I figured you could finally watch it now.
No, see, it doesn't
only
count.
Watch the subs.
It doesn't count. American-based things I will watch. If it's an American company, I will watch it. I have no issue with that. And again,
next week I'm going to be sending you the Simpsons sub as well.
Oh man, I'm not that bad. I at least, for the most part, try. And my thing has always been, what level of care are you giving these voice actors? So do they have any, like the guy who does Ichigo's voice, I do love him.
Yeah.
It dubbed wise. Because it fits. It is Ichigo. They almost sound the same, whether it's, you know, the Japanese voice or not. They have this same kind of vocal pitch in a certain way, which a lot of times you won't get, because Goku and subbed and dubbed are two different people.
But they're both memorable, and we love them both. At least I do.
I love the Americanized one in that regard. It took me a long time to start liking the subbed.
Yeah.
Now, I will say this. If I'm picking subbed over dubbed and picking different people, dubbed wise, Luffy loses, subbed wins. Dubbed or subbed, Asta will always lose because he yells too much.
Okay. He does.
I mean, obviously Ichigo subbed is gonna win for me, but that's just a different level of things. What else? Naruto is definitely losing because I cannot.
Which one, dub or sub?
Dub is losing for me. Like sub,
dub wins because Naruto talks too damn much.
Yeah, I like it.
Name me one character that's ever beaten their foe with just talking to him. You can't. It's only Naruto. No talk jutsu.
Detective Conan. Yeah. So let's look. We're over here tangential Gray, as I've been called.
I did it. It's on me. But Bleach, I watch both. I will watch both for sure. So
good. I'm glad that someone will. It just won't be me. Let's get into the Coup de Grace episode. What, 5 and 6? Yeah, we're episode 5 and 6. So Bankais have been stolen. Ichigo's trapped in a jail, and now we get to the massacre.
The massacre. Well, I mean, there's already been a lot of massacre. Now we're seeing like some.
Oh no, people are getting their butts kicked left and right.
Yeah.
And let me go back and look through. I'm gonna have to mute this stuff so it doesn't cut through on you guys' end. But there we go. So
it opens up with Kenpachi.
It does. And that was a good portion of what was going on there. They redid what they re-showed us what happened with Sasakibe, which that was still, man, that was brutal.
Yeah.
We get Byakuya getting hit with like the fear. Oh my god, ass not like is. Look, man, I was wondering how they were gonna make this guy actually creepy.
Yeah.
And they did a great job because a lot of these fights we didn't get to see. What we saw in the manga was they got their Bankai stolen, and then Byakuya ends up slammed into a wall that I thought was a million miles across the Serite.
Yeah.
Like when I saw it, I thought he had literally just like, oh, you are big dead. Like you are just out of here. There's no coming back from that.
No.
But to kind of see it in this new light was really good. The other Bankais that were stolen, and I love Toshiro. Toshiro is one of my favorite characters, but most oftentimes he'll fight with Ichigo for one, depending upon how I'm feeling that day. But Toshiro was one a lot of good days. So I wasn't like as like bent out of shape about him losing his Bankai. I wasn't as bent out of shape about I definitely didn't. I mean, I cared Soifon lost her Bankai, I guess, but not really.
She was fine with it.
Like in my mind, I feel like her Shikai is way better anyway.
Yeah.
Just as a concept. And I get what Kubo was going for, but I really enjoyed the other side of that more.
I think with Toshiro losing his, I wasn't bothered by it because it felt like his Bankai, like he always relied on it way too much.
Yeah.
Like it didn't take much for him to get into the Bankai. So it's like for him to have it taken, part of me was like, yeah, good. Now learn how to fight without it.
Yeah. And
the thing is with Baki,
what's Wolf
with
guy's
Bakia,
name? Because I didn't care either.
Yeah, I didn't care. No. But with Bakia, on the other hand, like he loved his Bankai. Watching him, reading with him, there was a sense that he strived to get there, and he loved the fact that he has such a powerful Bankai that this is his. It was a mantle that he wore, and then to have it taken away, like it hit him, and it. I think that one was, yeah.
Oh, that one hit hard because it's the culmination of his royalty. It is a status that I've held. It is the Kuchiki family line that I have done everything to make sure that I upheld. I've learned a lot from, and we're getting close to. Like the next two episodes is like Byakuya's character arc, and the things that are gonna be said are life changing and so good. And so you have these moments in this episode where he's explaining fear and the fact that but truth be told, whether you're spiritual, not spiritual, or whatever the case may be, fear as a concept is mostly irrational. At the core of what it is irrational, and it doesn't. There is no rhyme or reason for why you're scared of certain things until that's the whole thing about it. Because when you actually realize, the functionality of it, like when it's instinctual, it's telling you to do something. Like a lot of times, kids that are scared of red or like, why are you scared? Like it's irrational. You're creating something in your head. So Asnot's power is just amazing to me, especially they're all basically using their Shikais at this point.
Yeah.
Because we haven't gotten to the next aspect of everything with it. Even his whole thing of like, man, it was so good. This might have also, did Shushui lose his eye in this episode or the next episode? No, he lost his eye last episode.
Yeah, which I want to. Okay, so with Bakia, I mean, we were talking last episode about the connections Kubo keeps with the thought, the ideas of Buddha, and I mean, with Kuchiki, it's his arc is truly the story, the journey of Buddha, of having to let go, and the fear is what pushes him more so, because at that point he has to, let go of the idea of being fearless, let go of the idea of, Rukia. I'm afraid to lose Rukia. Let go of my Bankai, let go of my royalty. And, it's, I didn't really grasp it until I watched it.
Yeah.
And really thought, I was like, man, like, forget Ichigo. This guy has a journey.
And this was the most powerful part of this episode, because in his character arc, if you think about from the Soul Society arc, when Ichigo basically, when he first gives the assignment to Ichigo, in sense of like, I don't want anything bad. I honestly don't want anything bad to happen to her. I cannot make the decision that you're making because of my standing. Do this for me. And he doesn't verbally say it, but he insinuates it in that way, which is why what's coming up very soon is so just great.
Now back to the eye. When he had the eye patch, did that just feel like right? Like, I remember when we
talking about Shufu, right?
Yeah,
it felt
like his character design was complete.
You know how long it took me to even realize that he didn't always have the eye patch?
How long?
Rewatching this and seeing his eye get shot out. And I'm sitting there and I'm like, he didn't always have an eye patch? And then and then I go back and I look and I'm like, because it completes him so much that I forget he ever had two eyes prior to this arc.
Yep.
But yeah, he gets his eye shot, and I didn't mention that I meant to, because his character arc is also really nice, and his what he has to do and the things everyone loses in whatever ways they lose them is something completely and utterly different, and I'm excited. But that was my favorite fight of this episode. Then let's see. What else happens in 5? So Ichigo tries to get out of the jail. Kenpachi explains why, how he killed him
in the most badass way possible.
Yeah,
and it was just
oh man. Kensei saves Hisagi, which is what I think his name is, Hisagi, if I remember correctly. The guy who he's inspired by, which is why he has the 69 tattoo on his face.
Oh yeah.
That was dope. Seeing and then the general arrives.
Yes, he sure does. And out for blood, out for vengeance for sure.
Yeah.
Because he faces off with for overkill.
Yeah.
Which happens to be the same guy who killed his first lieutenant,
Sasuke. Yeah. And I was like, this on top of the flashback and being able to see how he got his scars and to understand what the Gotei 13 used to be. Because by now you guys have seen the full drawings of the original Gotei 13. And definitely by the release of this episode, you've seen them. Because I believe they're coming up, because Yu Habak starts to talk about how you could not beat them. There was no beating that generation, which says a lot about where we currently are with the Gotei 13. or even the Zero Division, but that's neither here nor there.
We don't talk about the Zero Division.
We don't talk about Bruno.
Yeah.
And a lot of like what they're going towards and in terms of like how strong they are and everything is one of those amazing moments where they're building out this world so great. And I'm enamored by it. I'm enamored in a way of like how they are really showing us that the Gotei 13 and Ichigo, in terms of Ichigo's presence and all that he's done, changed everything. It literally changed everything. They were already on a slight bit of change, somewhat, but he solidified humanity in a certain way for them in all their regards and made it more reasonable from where they came.
Well, I think it gave them a face to what they're. I mean, especially with the we have two original guard. Well, never mind. That's spoiler alert. Anyway, I think it gave a face to what they are really balancing.
Yeah.
You know, like they never really interact with humans unless it's to purify them or to kill them when they're hollows or exercise them. And now you have a human that's walking among them that is their equal, and they have to. I mean,
or watch them, because if you think about the substitute Soul Reapers, it was more so your spiritual pressure is something that we need to keep an eye on, and so we're going to keep an eye on it. And he changed, like knowing how Ichigo changed all those dynamics is what makes Kubo masterful. Like I do, talk a little bit about him in terms of things that he could have done story wise to kind of build some certain things out, but he did leave nuggets and things there because I didn't even realize that he had mentioned the Zero Division, way back when, and specifically when Urahara gets made a captain. He gets made captain of a division that someone left to go to the Zero Division because of the things that they had done. So kind of seeing like how lawless they were, because Urahara is a lawless dude.
Yeah.
Given the fact that like he might have seemed like sweet to some of you, but if you look back on his time in the Serete before he was, he wasn't technically banished. He left and banished himself because he knew what was going to happen. All of that stuff starts to make sense in terms of the decisions that were made by people in power. Because if you've been a brutal hooligan for a very long time, changing that is quite difficult. You're putting people in different positions. Unohana being a part of the medic division it's strange, and you'll guys will see why later, because it makes sense, kind of, but not.
Right.
And like I think that like in the next couple episodes that is going to explain everything a lot better than we ever could. But yeah, so episode 5. Let's see. So they do the flashback when he arrives about like how he got his name. And when Sasuke used his Bankai, which I thought was amazing. And then he basically tells it's time for me to wreck shop. And he releases his sword. Does he say Bankai at the end of the episode, or does he just release the sword?
He releases his Shikai on the O. And I want to, the flashback was important because I think it showed how much he respected his first lieutenant.
Yeah.
Yeah. And how he's reminiscing on the scar. And then he even, after the O uses his Bankai, and he was just like, oh my God, you spent thousands of years perfecting this.
Mm-hmm.
And now this guy is just tarnishing your hard work. And he was, I think it was like now, and he even says it, he's like, I am finally able to give you the proper send off. Like, that was perfect. I mean, it shows his respect, and then it shows his anger. But then you really see his anger when he does kill him off, and he's like, "Okay, I'm fixing to just wreck all these people. I'm out." And he does. He shows so much just power. It invigorates all of the captains, and they all take notice, and they all step up and start fighting harder, which I thought was a really cool scene. It was an awesome scene.
Yeah, but that's what your Captain General, the guy ahead of you all, should do. And it was as always, it was inspiring to kind of end the episode on that. But let's get into this episode 6.
Real quick, I do want to touch on one thing with episode 5.
Mm-hmm.
We need to talk about Shinji real quick, Captain Shinji.
Oh yeah. What about Shinji? I mean, in his ascot.
Shinji. Yeah, the bowl cut. He spends the entire episode running.
Going nowhere to nobody.
Just running.
Well, actually, I think I know. I think I know why he was doing that. I think I know why. And
what was that?
They don't pay this off until later, but technically he's still a part of the Wizards. I mean, and I think maybe he was going because the as you know, spoiler alert again. I don't know why I'm not going to say this anymore. If you listen to this, I give it at the beginning. Period.
But we're trying our hardest. We try our hardest not to spoil.
We do. But the Wizards are basically going through and closing the patches where the Quincy's had gotten in. That's their mission later on. I don't know that they necessarily know how they're doing it yet, but I think because Urahara gives that mission to them specifically. So I think maybe, I mean, it's probably a little bit too early because Urahara hasn't gotten back and given any commands or anything to anyone.
Yeah.
But you never know because
They do hint at the beginning of the series. Our Vice Guard, pink-haired girl, where she sees something bubbling.
Yeah,
and she was like, "What was that?" So it's quite possible.
No, they did it in the manga, but I feel like they cut it out in terms of what they showed us because they show it like much later. Because because they go and they get all their energy, and that's how they power the transportation device to get to the Zero Division. Gotcha.
But anyway, I still think Shinji's just running around.
Probably.
I have the episode 6 running in the background right now, and he's just kind of running, running and talking.
I think Kubo did the thing that a lot of mangakas will do sometimes, which is let me show you the person. Like, let me show you someone that you've been looking for, that you haven't seen. Because, I mean, we've seen Rukia basically just turn two different directions and get, we don't know what's going on with her at this moment.
Right.
We saw Ikaku, and I cannot think of his name, but I don't recall seeing them again. Oh, yes, I do.
Yeah.
Yes, I do. I remember because they helped during when Ichigo makes it back for the second time. But that's a while off before we see him again. So I think he was just showing us kind of just showing us people is what I'm basically saying. He wanted us to know, hey, they're still here. They're doing a thing, and they're doing the thing I asked them to do. But let's talk about like what we're really excited about, which is, you know, you start there. Also, this I want to get to this now.
Okay.
So we know that this person that Yamamoto is fighting is not Yuhabak. It is the R, I believe, Royd Lloyd. And it's not it's basically just a doppelganger that can take on the memories of a person he chooses or whatever the case may be, and somewhat use their powers, I guess, to a certain degree.
Well, I think his brother could use the person's power.
Yeah,
because that's where I kind of got mixed up with some stuff. So it's like I think there may be some experimentation going on, because they even acknowledge it. That he's like, oh, we could just make another one. So I kind of wonder if these are some hybrid type Quincy, like they're combining DNA and some weird scientific stuff.
Yeah, or why the yourself and the R. Okay. Yeah, the Y, the yourself, and remember Lloyd, the twins.
Yeah.
It was so here's what I think. And it's so weird to me. I don't think Kenpachi, and I know why they did it, should have been like the R and the Y. The R and the Y. Like you literally took out 3 of the letter of the alphabet by yourself. And the R and the Y. The R are able to take you out. Like, really? I mean, I get it. I get what's going on, because like it's the best mimicking ability, the most OP mimicking ability that has ever existed. Because even though Yamamoto, like, dog walks Royd Lloyd, because of course he would, it was still, just it was so strange. But this episode, this one was my favorite thus far.
Yeah,
of all of them. Like, it took the role of number 1 very quickly.
I think I have to, in defense of Kenpachi, I don't think he ever took the fight seriously, and the reason I'm going to say that is he still had his eye patch on. That eye patch still works.
It does. Whoa! Get out of here, Bill Burr.
Yeah, so, he had his eye patch on, so he felt that the threat wasn't as great to remove his eye. Wait, hold on. I take that back. His eye patch is off. Okay, well, never mind. Theory going.
Oh man, it probably got taken off though, if we're being completely and utterly honest. Also, the speed that Yamamoto got Kenpachi out the way.
Oh yeah,
crazy.
Yeah. I mean, are we going to talk about what's next?
Mm-hmm.
About what he does next after he gets Kenpachi out of the way?
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to steal your thunder. Okay, but yes, but I think he is another whisperer. Well, no, he does. He does call it out after. Anyway, I think it was one of the coolest Bankai releases, really just like ever seen. Like maybe second to a couple of Ichigo's releases, but I mean, to sit there and have just all these flames and then all of a sudden, snap, they're gone.
Yeah, just
gone.
Yeah,
and I mean, it was just like, all right. That's pretty cool.
The visualization of all of, like, the fact that he uses Kubo lets us see every move, and the newness of this flashback to the original fight. My mind was going crazy. Because I don't remember, and I'm gonna have to go back and read the chapter again because I just read through it. But I didn't really remember seeing the faces of the old Steinritter, of the people that like had been sacrificed at that point in time.
Yeah.
At all. But like seeing them in this fight, seeing the north, south, the east, and the west, and how ruthless this dude is. I'm not gonna say was,
Yeah.
is. You know, and just how like if I was you, I probably like, even if I was like, they are in the wrong in a certain light, but I cannot blame them for wanting to get back, because
Yeah.
he did not play around at all with how he used his Bankai. He was just, I mean, like the sheer weight of it all, the magnitude of how dark colored the series has been versus when he uses, and it's just like the first time the Serite and everything has looked like what we color wise, what we're used to.
Yeah.
The impact of, people's lips being cut. The fact that not BG9, because Soifon is fighting BG9, but I cannot think of his name, who Toshiro's fighting. He's like, you know what? You can't use that anymore.
Right.
Like you cannot use Hyorinmaru anymore. That was an amazing part of that, and like, man, this episode took a whole nother level, and I'm mad they ended where they did. I figured they were.
Yeah.
Because where else could you go after that? But yeah, this episode was my, like, to see his Bankai, to almost feel it, to see three, like, the creepiest part of the episode, and it literally sent chills down my spine, is when he's using South, and the bones and the bodies are standing, and the sound of them like standing and moving was just amazing.
It was a lot.
It was, because they took all sound out. It was the only sound you were hearing was them rising up. There was no music in the background. It was meant to exude the chill that it gave, and I'm like, yo, this is a whole nother level.
So, and I mean, also with his Bankai, we get to another, and they even make fun of it, which is really reminiscent of the Soul Society arc, is when they're like, "What, this burnt up little blade is a Bankai?"
Mm-hmm.
And that being said about Ichigo's Bankai,
mm-hmm.
and the idea is all this power is now compressed into this single small blade. Are we to maybe take from this that others Bankais that are just very big, very loud, very sprawling aren't completely refined?
Yeah.
I mean, we have the oldest Soul Reaper that we know of showing his Bankai, and it's a small single blade, but then you have, Bakia, who has a million blades. Like, I mean, what happens if this gets compressed down? I mean,
yeah. I mean,
again, just
it all manifests in I think interesting ways to people's personalities, which is something that they don't lean into in a certain way. I think, whether it's Soifon or you think about Hitsugaya, in terms of when your Zanpakuto or the Zanpakuto that is for you chooses you. And we learn a couple things about that here soon, which is why I'm like, no, it's a personality thing. Like it felt a different way prior to that, and I'm like, no, you knew who it was going to. They're Asauchi, which I'm just gonna I can use Japanese words, and if you don't know what it means, you don't know what it means. No spoiler there. Chose you in a certain way, because they all come from somewhere. Anyway, but yeah, chills. It's too good, man. This episode was amazing.
And you're very right on the color palette and how it changes. And I think it's almost like a hopeful color change, where it's like, here, here is, hope that we're getting ready to accomplish, something that we have a chance to win. And then he goes through all the 4 different directions of his Bankai, which I thought were amazing and shown amazingly. From what the first one was, East.
I believe so.
It was East, where he compressed all the firepower into the tip of the blade of his sword, where there wasn't any flames, there wasn't any explosion. It just evaporated stuff, just poofed it out of existence. And then then it went to the West, where it was like a million degrees Celsius. Just a huge amount of flames.
Which I like how they explain that, like, later, in the sense of just saying, no, it's an illusion of like the Ryatsu and how it feels.
Yeah.
Versus, like, I love that funny kind of, look, I get it. If it was the sun, we would all be gone. Like, come on, we understand. I know that we're using mythical powers here, but, we don't want to, like, make it so unbelievable. Which is funny to me, but like, let's just say, it just feels that way as an illusionary type thing. And then he goes south, right?
Yeah, and that was your skeletons.
And then north was, what was north? I feel like north was like his final attack, where he shrouded himself in the fire, I think.
No, that was south. No, that was west. South was when they draw. One thing also, I'm flipping through the manga to try to remember. So one of the cool things I thought also was that Yamamoto waited until he drew his sword. He's like, okay, good, now I can begin. He's like, why were you waiting for me to draw my sword? He's like, because I'm going to crush you, mind, body, soul, and sword.
Yeah.
And for each direction, starting with East, he slices his sword in half.
Mm-hmm.
And then he wrecks his mind with the South. He wrecks his body. He wrecks his defenses. He smashes it all.
And then the craziest thing is like we were just talking about, getting that color palette back of life. And then immediately, once the reveal is that, R and the Y were doing what they were doing, here comes, and Kubo loves this. This is his favorite thing to do when he's about to give some sort of emotional change. It's gotta rain.
It's gotta
rain.
And I like, the first thing I thought was, this is the moisture coming back in.
Mm-hmm.
And everything.
Oh, that is smart. Like, it's like, it would technically, what came in because of that much heat leaving, it would be a storm. It would literally cause a storm to come in, which I think, I'm pretty sure Kubo thought about, like, on a lighter level. Oh, and then the biggest reveal of this episode that was new, and I did not think that they were going to do it, because it's like, I guess they're literally just trying to pull in everybody at this point and pull out all the stops. Them going, Yuhaba going to talk to Aizen and them showing it.
Yes. And it was, well, first, I mean, before we get to that, like, the reveal was done so well in the anime, because it showed Yamamoto's frustration. Because like in the manga, it was just like, I'm sorry, I failed. He's just like, oh, who are you apologizing to? This one, it was like, who are you apologizing? Like, he knew. He was like, shit. And this isn't going to go well.
And then you see it on his face before the end of the episode, when he just knows. He knows exactly, what's going on. And, like, at this point, I think his second lieutenant has also, either been
Yeah.
injured and or killed, because they don't show his death or anything like that, but like the look on his face is one of just earnest anguish of I allow my emotions, and they did this better, I think, in the manga than what they've done in the anime. Because a lot of videos I've been watching have been talking about this, like his general descent into anger and his emotions, and allowing his emotions. Like the old Yamamoto would have known to stay fast or be steadfast, and not, he would have sensed what was going on. But because he was so upset about Sasakibe, he was not in his right mind at any point. And they showed that so well, that I'm just like, bro, this anime coming back, being number one in a lot of people's polls, and it's gonna stay there, I guarantee you, because like I think they're gonna just make all of the things that we complained about better.
Yeah. Well, I mean, they're taking their time. They're fleshing out story. They're fleshing out design, which is absolutely great. Talking to Aizen was cool, especially because they did a redesign of his chair. Like in the manga, it was just he was sitting in a leather bound chair, and that may have unlocked some things for me back in the day. But it was like, oh, that's going to be what's holding him down. And then in the show, like they give him a much bigger chair, tie downs on it that, really shows how much power this guy has.
And the fact that he says to him, I could kill you, it would just take a long time. And I currently I don't have the time to devote to that.
Yeah.
Like, Aizen is the guy, and we know he's the guy. And he should have been the guy, like, point blank period. Like, I feel like, I don't know that he could beat Yuha at anything. Because even with what he does, what he does when he does it, that's still parlor tricks, comparatively. I mean, that's his biggest thing. It took none of this because it took what it had to take. But I was pleased. I'm ready for episode 7.
Yes. I think something that was also shown in this episode and in earlier episodes that they hinted at, that if you haven't read and you should pay close attention to the blunt vein. I think I said that right.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a technique that the Quincy's are using that like hardens their skin, makes it impenetrable. That's going to be very important shortly.
Oh no, but they're going to show that, like, that's going to be like one of those dun dun dun. Like they're going to bring all the attention to it, because I feel like in the manga you see it, but you're kind of like,
we see it. They acknowledge it. For sure. But I think for us, it was like, because again, our toxic fandom, and we'd sit there and cook up ideas and theories and blah, 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 blah. So when we saw it, it was just kind of like,
it didn't hit in a way until the flashback, which I'm super excited for, because I'm so excited to see. I think also what they're going to take liberties on is explaining more of Ishin's relationship with Toshiro and Matsumoto, which it's so weird to me that Kubo never thought to have any conversations between the three of them outside of anything, or have them in the same area to be like, you freaking captain, you left us, punch, punch, punch. Like, at least that would have been fine. But yeah, I'm acquiescing on things that I'll actually get to talk about when the episodes come around. But yeah.
So I enjoy it. Again, it was another Empire Strikes Back episode. We had some hopeful moments, and then they came that came crashing down for sure.
Yep, the walls of Jericho just came a tumbling down.
It did. But we had, the next episode's going to be great. We're going to see a lot more solid character arc from Kuchiki for sure. Byakuya. It's going to be, we're going to see some story moving, and hopefully we'll get another, oh shit moment.
We're definitely getting some shit.
Oh shit. So speaking of oh shit, was it this week that we got some Kubo art?
Yeah, I thought we talked about that did we not talk about it at the top, or did we talk about that off? But anyway, I think
we hinted it. We talked about it off camera about the pod. But anyway, I'll let you. I don't think we officially conversed on air about it.
So if we didn't, and again, my memory's bad sometimes, but Kubo just released art of the original Gotei 13. Oh, we did, because we were talking about the first and the second. We were alluding. We did allude to who was in it. So he released this picture of he drew the original Gotei 13. The only two original members of the original Gotei 13 are Unohana and Yamamoto. Whereas everybody else is either descendants or obviously new captains. He gave no names. So that was a bit interesting, I think, in terms of that choice. And there are a lot of, this is when, as Yuhabak put it, they were the most ruthless, most ruthless gangsters. I'm having so much trouble saying ruthless, and it is killing me.
But I think. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
But so having all of these people, one of them looks like Shunsui's Bankai, which is strange to me. One is clearly Yorichi's descendant. One looks like Mayuri's descendant, which I thought was kind of strange. Unohana looks like Unohana, which if you look at this picture, there are things there that you should kind of recognize. There's another one that looks like Mayuri, but is not. There's a girl that looks like Lisa, in terms of her mom or something like that. There's an even older guy.
I missed him at first.
There's Frazier in the far back next to Yamamoto. Or actually it's Niles. I think it's actually Niles. I'm sorry, it's Niles. I spoke too soon.
It is Niles. I think, we chatted about this in text message. This is, because you and I, in hopes, because again, it's been 10 years since the end of this manga. Is this a sign that Kubo is actively working on continuing the story past the 1,000-year Blood War? Are we going to get into the Hell arc? That if you don't know what the Hell arc is, one shot, most recent Bleach one shot that came out, kind of setting it up.
Yeah, about a year and a half ago, almost at this point, because it came out right before they had fully confirmed, I think, that the anime was coming back, or before we got any confirmation on date or that they were actually working on it. We knew that it was coming back, but once the Hell arc came out, he's been doing a lot of things that this simply, so I don't get too verbose here or wax poetic. He is doing a lot with the company, which encourages me to understand that Kubo is hand in hand with them in doing this. There is no, you just let the anime interpret how they want to. He took a hold and was like, this is how we're going to do it. And I am excited because he does not, none of his art does he use just for some wanton moment. If he draws it outside of like SPS stuff, he uses it. Like, and especially when he draws it like this, so well thought out, even if it's just gonna be the flashback. I mean, he drew everyone Shikai that you can see. He didn't draw them just having swords. They're all in Shikai.
Yeah.
You know.
Hey. So you got the picture drawn up, right?
Yep.
You see the picture?
Mm-hmm.
So take a look in that the back. Zoom in on the back guy, the bald-headed guy.
Mm-hmm.
Speaking of Shikai, what's that Shikai look like?
Let me see. Let me see what it looks like.
Who's Shikai? Who's Shikai is the bald-headed guy with the glasses look like he's holding?
Let's see. Oh, I can't see it.
It's like a little Zabimaru to me.
Oh.
Again, we need to stop. This is our old toxic fan stuff.
That would be cool. That would be cool. I would enjoy that a lot. It would be.
I hope that that we do see a continuation of the story. You know, I would be thrilled if the very last episode of the 1,000-Year War was just so happens to be, you know, the Hell Arc teaser. You know, because
that would make sense. So if we look at these characters, if you think about one of them being a part of the werewolf clan, probably would have to be.
Yeah. And one of them would have to be, yeah. I mean, there's a lot. We could probably do an entire episode.
We should, especially after episode 7. I think I might try and do something on it, and we'll make some time to kind of like discuss it, because at that point we'll have actually seen everybody, I'm sure, because that episode is next when Yamamato is talking about what they, you know, were. When, you know, they basically do the thing in anime where, like, after we've done something, we leave you to deal with your people. To treat your wounded and bury your dead is a very anime thing.
We'll just do a bonus episode that you can listen to if you just send me one pair of MeUndies.
Or if Manscaped, if you happen to be listening, you know, I can change myself up and groom myself. I need some tools. But anyway, that is more than enough for this episode. We appreciate you guys for listening. I've been missing doing this for the past couple of episodes because I just be like, they're a little longer than they normally are, and I don't want to like take too much away from you guys. But all of the socials are down in the description. But most importantly, if you'd like to see anime videos done by me about other animes other than Bleach and what we do on Teach Me Senpai or whatever else I don't talk about on here, go to the youtube.com/Icarus Gray, subscribe, and there will be more there. I'm going to start like maybe doing shorts or something like that on like animes that I have no intention of doing a long form video about, but just giving a quick thought on like, is it good or is it not good? So go there for that. I appreciate each and every one of you for listening. A 1 and a 2, and peace.